Welcome back. So, there was an arcade skateboarding game in the 80s called 720. This was one of the home ports, and it's not very good. That said, we're going to try and get through it as quickly as possible. Alright. Sorry, I have to face away from the computer as I'm playing this game, so getting the split set is kind of hard. Oh yeah, the demo's fantastic. The AI has no idea what to do. So, get this started in 3, 2, 1, go. So the basic idea of this run is, there are 4 stages, and once you hit the 4th stage, it starts looping infinitely. So a run of this game is just completing the 4th stage. To do that, you have to complete 4 different events. And I'll go more in depth on these later, but the basic idea is you want to get to 112,500 points. And you're seeing me get like 200 points at a time, thinking, how are we going to hit that? But there's a way. Just trust me on this. So scoring for each event works a little differently. For the ramp, it's dependent on how many tricks you do. Like the max bonus you can get for this is 4,000. We got 3,900, which is fine. So one of the ways I'm trying to earn some extra points is just by doing little jump spins on the way to each event. Because you can't really do that many tricks in this version of the game. You can jump spin, you can do hand plants on some events, and that's about it. So I'm not really concerned about medals or cash prizes here, because cash prizes are for buying equipment, which we are not going to do at all in this run. I'm just concerned about the bonus points, because the points give you tickets to go into these events. If you don't have a ticket, you'll get turned away until you hit a certain point threshold. Okay, good. Sometimes, like my momentum will just die on that jump, or I'll fall in the water despite missing it completely. This is not a very well-made port. I'm probably going to say that several times over the course of this run. But jump, I'm not really concerned about doing tricks or anything, because the time bonus for this is tied completely to the timer. So 5,200 points is like the most you can get out of that event. Ah, come on. So, when the kid does that little animation where he jumps into the air after landing some tricks, you cannot control him at all. And he slid into the map tile, which wastes a few seconds. Alright, so we just completed the 4th event, which this one is tied to the metal bar in the upper right of the screen, so a little more important to like not bail constantly. Now when you go up in certain classes, 2 things happen. 1, 100 points gets added to each trick that you successfully land, and the landscape changes a little bit. I hope you like the color yellow, because we're going to see a lot of it in this class. So, for ramp, I wait at the start of the event so that I can time it so that, like, I'm about to land as the clock is hitting 0. If you get to the left side of the ramp before the clock hits 0, he will do, like, another full lap of the ramp, and it wastes time. So I try to time it so that he's just about to land right as the clock will hit 0. Like that. You can actually get it a little tighter, but I'm trying to play it a little safe. I kind of want to run the like Midway Arcade Classics version of this, because that's like the faithful version of 720. Like, I cannot overstate how much got changed when they tried porting this to the NES. Like, just as an example, the character you play as looks completely different. He's got a mohawk, tank top, like jean shorts, and here it's just this mouthwash-flavored kid. Like, who will not stop smiling unless you bail, or he gets attacked by a swarm of bees. Because I'm sure there are some people out there who are familiar with the Skate or Die games. Well, the name Skate or Die comes from this game. Because if the timer, which is those squares in the upper left, if those hit 0, and you're not going into an event, the words Skate or Die will appear, and you'll get chased down by a swarm of bees. So the way jump is supposed to work is you jump, do some tricks, and then land as close to that spot as possible. But really, we're just concerned with not sliding off the side of the stage. Because that can happen sometimes, and I have no control over when it happens. There are lots of things in this game that you just don't have control over. Sometimes it'll misread your inputs. Like, I'm jumping and spinning once. Sometimes it won't read the spin at all. Sometimes it'll think I'll spin twice. And that'll cause me to crash. And when you crash, you do not get up fast at all. You have to buy, I think it's the pads, to be able to get up faster when you crash. Now, the map for this event is slightly different in Class 2. It has that extra little turn in it. And I should have pointed out earlier, like, jump has an extra jump in it, slalom has some extra flags in it. The events do change slightly as you go up. I mean, not ramp so much, because, well, you can't really change that. Although, in Class 3 and 4, ramp has a different timer. You usually get 70 seconds. In Class 3 and 4, you only get 60. But we're setting a good pace right now. So for this, just as a base, you'll get a certain score, but if you hold the trick slightly longer, you'll get an extra 100 points, which I've been doing every time I possibly can. You can actually hold it a bit longer to get 200, but if you do that, there's a good chance that you'll crash. So I just play it safe and go for this. This will keep you well on schedule to getting the amount of points you need to get tickets for every event anyway, so not a huge loss. Now, I'm really hoping it doesn't happen in this run, but collision detection is weird for like certain obstacles in this game, like ramps and water. Because sometimes you will just glide over the water and not fall in it. Sometimes you'll be able to pass through the sides of ramps. Sometimes you'll run into the sides of ramps from about 10 feet away. Basically, if nothing like strange happens in this run, consider it a slight miracle. Also, you kind of seeing me cut that pond a little sharp. It's not just because it's slightly faster. Jumping over water counts as a trick, so that'll give you an extra 100 points every time you do it. You also notice I'm taking this turn a little bit wide. That's for two reasons. One, if you take it too sharp, he'll do a tail stop at the top of the ramp, and it kills his momentum. 2 is sometimes he'll just slide into the water. So this is actually the final version of Downhill. It doesn't change at all for Class 4. But I'm going to be really close to the bottom of the screen for part of it, so this might get a little hairy. Ah, he rotated when I didn't want him to. That's okay. Got a slightly lower bonus, but we should be able to make up for that. Because just doing what I've been doing will be ahead of pace. Like right now we don't have an event ticket, but just by landing these tricks, there, now we have an event ticket. And ramp gives you the largest bonus if you pull it off, so not too worried. That was pretty much perfect. By the way, there's like half of the world map in this that you just aren't going to see ever, but there are a bunch of like ramps and boxes you can try to do tricks off of. There are cars driving around that you never see, a bunch of NPCs you never see. There's money laying around at some points. There are stores. But I don't recommend seeing them in this version of the game. Just play the arcade original. By the way, if you try jumping on the slalom, you'll just stop moving. I don't know why. Also, I should have mentioned this at the beginning, but if you start seeing, like, weird... let's just put it this way. My NES runs on an RF switch. So if it starts snowing in the middle of the game, that's why. Also, that guy, who I'm just gonna call Pepsi Man, he will knock you off your board if you just try running into him. And you can kind of get stun-locked by him. But as long as you're airborne, and you touch him, he'll just kind of disintegrate into a pile of whatever. Alright, we have 124k, but it's going to add the bonus to that, so we should have the ticket for the final event. Yep, we're good. We don't have to do any more jump spins. And this is the final event. Oh, it ate my jump input. That's okay. Time is when the final score screen goes by. Oh, the game kind of died for a moment, but that's time. And that is 2 seconds off of the record. That is a very good run. Like, even considering the weird stuff that happened. Well, that was 720. Just give me a moment, because I need to make sure that the batteries are charged in the Super Scope for the next game.